So, in the previous lesson, you learned about the imagination and using vivid details in your descriptions within your guided meditations. So, now we're going to further that and we're going to talk specifically about guided imagery. Guided imagery that you'll be using for your detailed, vivid imagery. Sometimes referred to as guided visualization, guided imagery is simply guided, vivid, and detailed images described clearly and precisely with as many senses employed as possible. We include as many bodily senses as possible in order to gauge the whole being of your listener. Guided imagery is often a component in meditation, but it isn't the meditation itself. Meditation, as you know, as you learned already, it can be many different things and take many different forms. It could be to ask the listener to simply notice the surroundings or their feelings or what's occurring inside or outside of the listener. So, for example, when you're instructing in meditation, you may ask your listener to pay attention to things that they wouldn't normally notice. Doing so really draws in their attention to specific things like the quiet space between each breath, or the sensation that they feel on the roof of their mouth. Does it feel rigid? Is it smooth? How does it feel? Or how do they feel on the soles of their feet as they imagine each individual muscle? So guided imagery is really a separate and optional component of our work. But like I said, it is very important to incorporate the relaxation, and when you do so, when you use guided imagery in order to get your listener there into that space of relaxation, not only is it a lot more fun for you, but they really get into the experience. So guided imagery is well loved, and it's incorporated in a lot of guided meditations, although not all. But myself, I'm very partial to guided imagery, and I've always employed it in my guided meditations. It's really the foundation of my work. So imagine that you're standing in a beautiful kitchen and you see a clean, organic lemon sitting on a wooden cutting board. The room is quiet, except for the gentle hum of the ceiling fan that spins around and around above your head. You feel the gentle breeze in the room. But right now you bring your attention, you bring your focus to that beautiful lemon. And in your mind you can see the bumpy textured skin of this bright lemon. Now use your imagination and rub the pads of your fingers over this tough outer skin. Is it smooth and bumpy at the same time? Now imagine the lemon being cut open and watch as the juice spurts out. The smell of lemon is strong in the air, overpowering any other smells. You bring the halved lemon close to your nose and take in a deep breath of the tart, lemony smell. And now you prepare to bite into that sour lemon. You bring it close to your mouth and you take a big bite. It is very sour. You can feel your whole mouth watering, reacting to the tart, sour lemon juice as you roll the juices around in your mouth. Now, open your eyes if you close them for this exercise. That was a guided imagery exercise. It describes something in such a way that it engages the most senses possible. The lemon exercise is a perfect example of classic guided imagery. Notice how your body responded. Notice how your body produced physical reactions to your imagination. You were most likely salivating. I know I was. It is the same when we use guided imagery to help teens relax, to relieve stress, and to change their perception about certain things. Physical changes are actually taking place within their bodies. Our bodies react to images held within our minds. It's so powerful. Our outer experience actually reflects our inner thoughts on a daily basis. Words and images are very powerful and they can be very, very healing. So, do you practice guided imagery? Think for a moment about how a conversation might go with a friend that you might have not seen in many years. You'll probably go through many whole conversation possibilities in your mind. You will anticipate the questions and the answers, the joy, the wonderful feelings of being reunited again after so long. You might imagine your friend's reaction to various things. This is guided imagery. We use it all the time, even without being consciously aware of it. And how about using guided imagery to achieve our goals? So if you're familiar with the law of attraction, if you use motivational CDs or believe that mindset matters, you're already using guided imagery. Every time you meditate and imagine filling up your heart with love, you are using this same imagery technique, whether you guide yourself or someone else is doing the guiding. So at the end of this lesson, I'm going to give you a link to look over some guided imagery scripts that I write for Green Child magazine. I'd like you to read through the scripts, at least a few of them, because the more that you get familiar with the imagery and the ideas of how we create good scripts, the easier it will be for you and the more free you feel to use your own imagination and just go wild and have fun with this. So, guided imagery, as you're going to notice, is actually very simple to write. You're going to lead your teens on an adventure and you're going to embellish the details. And that's really what it's about. You're going to include as many senses as you can. So when you're writing, you're going to imagine, how does it smell? How does it taste? How does it feel on my skin? How does it feel inside of my body? Include all of the senses as well, as much as possible, really. You're going to be asking the teens in your guided meditations to imagine, to feel, to touch, to see, to smell, and so forth. Children are naturally imaginative, as we talked about before, so you get to have a lot of fun with these exercises. Guided imagery has been used for many, many, many years for healing and maximum health. And in her book, Guided Imagery for Healing Children and Teens, registered nurse and author Ellen Coran explains, guided imagery for healing uses the quieted, focused mind to enhance its effectiveness by making the child or teen more open and sensitive to the unconscious mind. This quiet, inactive use of imagery is a very powerful experience, and it taps into the deeper levels of healing, making it possible for the inner self to be heard and therefore to be healed. So truly, deep inner and healing work is occurring during guided meditation, and I'm positive that this is one of the reasons you want to work with teens. There is increasing scientific evidence that the use of guided imagery can reduce pain in children and teens suffering from certain abdominal disorders as well. In recent years, several well-documented medical studies have shown that guided imagery is an effective and safe treatment in the pain associated with childhood disorders known as functional abdominal pain, or FAP. The American Academy of Pediatrics defines FAP as long-lasting, intermittent, and constant abdominal pain without evidence of any organic cause. So FAP is actually quite common, affecting 15% of children. So this could be something, in my opinion, that really is stress-related. It's mind-related. They haven't found any organic causes. And this is something that when used with, or when guided imagery has been used with it, is known to create an effect, a positive effect, and reduce that. So controlled studies showed abdominal pain frequency and duration were significantly lowered among children who used guided imagery versus standard medical care. Guided imagery not only produces distraction from stomach pain, but it also enhanced relaxation. Now let's look at guided imagery in your meditations. So as you begin to understand how to use guided imagery, meditate on some scenes that are particularly relaxing to you. There are beautiful classics that children love, such as Magic Carpet Ride, Walking Down a Stone Path. And like I said, once you look at the link for Green Child Magazine, you will see tons of things I've written over the years for Green Child Magazine. I just want you to get a feel for the guided imagery. Now, of course, we're working with teens and not younger children, but the idea is the same no matter who you're working with. You might just elaborate your vocabulary, or elevate your vocabulary, I should say, as far as differentiating between children and teens. But you'll find that even a lot of adults enjoy the more guided imagery is written for children because it speaks to something within themselves, that inner child, as you know. You'll have an assignment this week of writing down 5 titles of possible guided imagery for teen meditations. So I'm not asking you to write the meditations yet. We still have more work to do, but I just want you to write down 5 titles, something that inspires you. Do you want to think about self-esteem? Do you have a specific topic in mind, like self-esteem, or perhaps a day by the lake, or something of that matter? So personally, before I write any guided meditation, I clear myself of the thoughts of the day. I focus on my intention for my work and that session in particular. I ask that Spirit's love be poured through me, and I visualize already connecting with those who will hear my work. So you can use guided imagery yourself to scan and clear your own energy in order to be more creative and to have everything flow more easily. So I personally do write down my meditations most of the time. At least I have a brief idea of what I'm going to do. So before you sit down and begin writing your own meditations, make sure that you yourself are clear. Make sure you yourself are in a good place. Don't write meditations after you've had a disagreement or you are upset inside or something like that. Write it at the time that you feel calm, that you feel peaceful, that you feel most connected or get most connected. That's the time that you want to write your work.